My name is Alice Pantelios, and I am part of the Canadian Psychology Association's Human Rights and Social Justice Work Group that advocates for immigrant, refugee, ethnocultural, and racialized people's mental health in Canada. Refugee, ethnocultural, and racialized populations in Canada use mental health services at a disproportionately lower rate than the general population, and yet they are disproportionately affected by social determinants that undermine mental health. This population faces numerous barriers to accessing services, and they are underrepresented in research. So the services which are available may not be appropriately responsive to their needs due to a lack of specialized knowledge and culturally safe approaches. So part of our work advocating for equitable access to psychological services for underserved migrant populations. And as part of our advocacy, our potential focus is to identify the existing advocacy efforts and allies in the community, language barriers, discrimination, and practitioner biases that may contribute to feelings of isolation and powerlessness. So another one of our goals is to collaborate with people who are among this population and provide them with a platform for their voices to be included so that they can gain a sense of empowerment. Another one of our mandates is also to develop and promote recommendations at the policy level that focus on promoting the mental health of people who are part of this demographic. So about a year and a half ago, I was doing research on the impact of COVID-19 on undocumented citizens in Montreal, and I became very frustrated reading about the systemic inequalities that existed and which became exacerbated during the pandemic. The people I was reading about were frontline workers, and they were referred to as the guardian angels in the media because they really stepped up to take on jobs that other Quebecers did not want to do, working very long hours under conditions that were far from ideal and had the threat of being deported looming over their heads. So not having this sense of stability impacts your health. And so when I think about this population, I think of the isolation and the powerlessness that they may be feeling as a result of being in a new country, having language barriers, and difficulty accessing resources. And it really frustrated me, and it evoked a lot of emotion in me, which taps into my value for social justice. And I wasn't sure how I could contribute in making a difference, or what I could do, or where to even begin. And then one day I received an email from the Canadian Psychology Association announcing that there would be this human rights social justice committee being formed. And my heart just skipped a beat, and I felt very excited about this. I thought, okay, this is it. This is where my starting point will be. So I signed up to the group, meetings started to follow, and it kind of took off from there. One of the first things we did as a committee is research. We want to understand what this population is experiencing, what are their needs, what is currently in place to support them, and to understand what is lacking. So we want to really identify that gap between what they need, what is currently in place. Learning and sharing resources on access and the barriers to mental health for this population, and reaching out to community contacts who are already known have been some of the first steps that we've been employing right now, and really building an understanding. Not only do we want to understand the perspective from the newcomers arriving to Canada, but we also want to understand the perspective of what is needed from the healthcare practitioner's point of view, so we can understand what do practitioners need in order to allow them to work more effectively with this population. That being said, some of the obstacles that we have encountered is really coordination. This has been a challenge for us, the logistics of getting everyone who's very busy. Time constraints are an issue for us. So getting everybody to coordinate the meetings and reaching out to the organizations who are really overwhelmed and flooded with work makes it a little difficult to accomplish tasks very quickly. So the motivation is there, but actually carrying out some of the actions is troublesome just because of the amount of work that is involved. But we are slowly overcoming this challenge, and thanks to technology, it allows for more flexibility so that we can move along the process of accomplishing our tasks. This has been a really impactful group for me because being part of this group has a lot of meaning. It gives me the opportunity to use my skills and share my resources to support others who don't have the same opportunities. This aligns well with things that I value and I find important. So social justice and benevolence are really important to me. Being part of a team with similar values really inspires me to continue engaging in behaviors that are reflective of who I am and who I want to be. And I really find that it gives me a sense of purpose. So my hopes and dreams for mental health workers would be to be provided with adequate training in working with diverse cultures and this population and improving the provision of culturally appropriate care. Trained professionals should also be aware of mental health issues, maybe present, pre and post migration, what current programs are out there for people that they're working with. I would also love to see an influence on policy changes to reflect equity-based approach, where people are provided with what they need to succeed. I think for my own work, I think this is really beneficial to me to really expand on my understanding of the difficulties this population experiences, and this will help me improve my skills in working with this population in the future. Social contagion refers to the likelihood for a person to copy certain behaviors in others whom they spend a lot of time with. So my advice for anybody would be to get clear on what it is that's important to you, what you value, and find people who share in those values and are doing things that will inspire you, teach you, and motivate you to behave, to be, and what you value.